So this is an old video that you're going to watch. I started filming in November 2023 and it took me a year to post. So these are all archived clips. Some of my thoughts might have changed, some might stay the same, but I'd like to post them because it's part of the journey and it's important to me, and they matter to me, and it shows the journey and shows different thoughts I was going through compared to now, I guess. But yeah, enjoy the video. Peace. Just wanted to talk about our inability to cope with bad stuff, with negative things that happen to us. Like, we really do, I think, as a society, have a fault in terms of dealing with anything negative. We do just put it off, and I'm also including myself in this. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sat here saying I'm perfect and I don't do that, but I can recognize, through smoking and through vaping and through sugary food and through addictions with drugs and every addiction you can think of, we really do just create this from the inability to cope with the negative aspects of life. And I think the solution is to literally just go deeper into it, into the bad stuff, into whatever's making you feel awful. You do really just have to fully jump into it. In terms of whatever. Let's take example. That's almost English, that. Let's take, for example, smoking. Whatever triggers you to need that fag, or to need that release, or that increase in dopamine, whatever it is, you delve into that. You solve that problem, or you sit in that problem and you actually figure out what is the issue and why do I feel this way. And going back to ayahuasca, I do feel like that is a medicine that really does expose you forcefully, in a way, that to attack what the actual issue is. Luckily I found that, and found that I can use that, or I could use that for a solution in terms of what do I need to look at and what do I need to attack and stop running away from. I think a lot of the time we are just running away from things, especially when you've got people with these, well, not even people, it's everyone. Everyone has these sort of addiction to, like, bad food, to sugary stuff, Coke, crisps, chocolate, biscuits, pies, whatever it is for that person. We all have that addiction because it gives us that pleasure. It releases us from the stress, which to me shows that we do have this inability to deal with stress. And if that wasn't there, what would we do? We'd probably find a solution. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's easy, because I do the same thing. Do you know what I mean? I know my vices that reduce the stress, and I always wonder about, is it okay to use these things to manage stress, to sort of control it, to, like a bit of a cheat. When you're having a bad day, you just, go buy a donut, go to Mackey's, you just slip off a diet, you don't go to the gym, you sit home and watch movies and stuff like that. And I do just wonder what would happen, like what would happen if you didn't do any of those things. But then the other thought that combats it, which is probably, I don't know, the voice the voice, the sort of the addict's voice, starts talking to me and says, "Yeah, but you don't need to take life that seriously. You know, you can have some pleasures." And then I do seriously debate that, and I'm like, well, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, we're used to these pleasures, and there's a reason that they're effective. They're effective, one, because they're designed to be effective. You know, they wouldn't have got through the final stages of production if they weren't effective. We're talking these foods and cigarettes and drugs. They wouldn't have become what they are if they weren't effective. But I just wonder, you know, we say drugs are bad, but yet these sugary foods that we're eating, they're okay. And I just wonder, at what scale does it become okay and does it become bad? Because if I'm just eating a bag of crisps every day to sort of relieve that stress and actually enjoy life and enjoy the day that I'm having, I understand, like I fully understand why people do it, don't get me wrong. It feels great to just have that reward and have that nice feeling. And I wonder what the alternative is. The actual healthy alternative is, if there is one. And I don't know what it is, but this week and last week I've just got this mindset of you know, you do need to embrace that negative. You do need to embrace that way that you don't want to be, that negative feeling. You do just have to embrace it and sit in it sometimes to feel the positive and to feel to see the opposite side of that spectrum. In terms of, I'll give an example. When it comes to, well, we'll look at a healthy example. When it comes to running, you know, you got to go through that pain and that suffering to feel that pleasure of being healthy and, you know, feeling good while you're running. With any new test, you've got to struggle at the start with any new skill, should I say, you've got to struggle at the start to get to a point where then you're skilled and you're good. Oh, God. And I just wonder, if these sort of, what would we call them, tools or little cheats that we have in life, I mean, they are there for a reason. But I'm like, do we embrace it? I just can't imagine what life would be like if you didn't have any of those things, if you didn't actually give in to these, I can't think of a word for it. If you wouldn't give in to these cravings, would you deal with your problems? You know, because you are running away from your problems. Because especially people who vape and smoke, and it's like, there's so many people that I see, literally as I'm driving to work and driving home from work, literally, that are vaping. And it's like, why are you vaping constantly? How is your life if you've got to sort of vape all the time? You've got to have this little puff just to feel better about life. You know, something like that I don't get. But when it comes to food, and, you know, I get that. I get that sort of side. So I could understand how, if vaping gives you that release and that feeling of decompressing and de-stressing, I fully get why people are addicted to it, don't get me wrong. I fully get. But I'm like, what would life look like if you did just embrace whatever the thing is you're running away from? And it is so hard to do. But I just wonder if it is just this society. I very much doubt that it is just this society. You know, people drink alcohol probably for the same reason. And I just, like I said, I wonder on what scale does it become an unhealthy release. You know, we all know having a drink or two is fine. Wind down with a drink, but when you're drinking loads every night and you're getting hammered every night and you're an alcoholic, we all understand that that's not the way to be. To me, it's interesting to see and to look at what scale. And is it even possible to not have those things that you sort of use to de-stress? But then I also look at it like, well, why are you stressed in the first place? What life are you living where you are stressed? And is it your fault, or is it, you know, can you make the excuse that it is society? And then if it is society, is it possible to have a society without it? And that's where I fall at the line of, well, is it possible to have an existence? Is it possible to have an existence without those stresses? Like they are vital for us, you know, in many ways. But a lot of the time I do think, yeah, if you were to live that way, God, life is serious. Or is it not? Does it become a bit more beautiful? Does it become easier? My natural instinct says that, yeah, it becomes less serious when you do when you think of it in a serious way. But it'd be so hard to know and to tell, and especially in our society, you know. Like I'm just about to go into Aldi, and 90% should I say, of that shop is filled with bad stuff. Because it sells. It's effective. That's why it sells. That's why cigarettes are a big profit in business, and vapes are going that way, or are that way really. It's because they're effective in terms of de-stressing. But yeah, just a thought. I was just having a conversation at work about that, and I thought, yeah, how do you get someone quitting smoking or vaping and stuff like that? And for me, you've got to look at the root cause of why you're actually doing it. You've got to try and find that out, because that's where the unhealthy thing is. Because you might stop smoking and vaping, but you'll probably pick up another habit. But yeah, living that serious life, these are the things I sort of think about all the time, and why I'm a bit of a serious person. Thank God I at least have a sense of humour. But yeah, at the shop now, so peace.